Hey, what's up, folks? So today I'm going to be showing y'all this loaded nacho bar. It's perfect for game day. Got the Super Bowl coming up, so I just wanted to show you all this quick little video. So first, I'm going to start with my corn tortillas. And I'm actually going to make homemade nachos, essentially. So I'm using those corn tortillas. And I like to just take a nice handful of them, probably about half of the pack, and just slice them in half and then slice them in quarters after that. Now you can obviously buy your nachos just from the grocery store, of course, but I mean, I don't really have the opportunity to really make homemade from scratch nachos all the time. So game day's coming up, so why not just make them fresh and make them yourself? So I'm going in with some neutral cooking oil that I have on about 350 to 360 degrees, and I let that oil heat up for a bit. And now I'm just going to drop in those corn tortillas that I sliced in quarters. And I like to go in with about half of the batch at a time, and just to not overcrowd the oil, and also because I didn't fill the Dutch oven all the way up with oil. And so I just use my spoon to kind of like make sure that they're pressed in there nicely. And then after a couple of minutes or so, I start to just move them around a little bit. And I guess I should say you only really need to cook these things for like 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes tops, because if not, you run the risk of them burning, and you don't really want that, okay? So I'm just kind of moving them around a little bit. If they stick together, that's to be expected. But as they kind of crisp up, as you see right here, they'll definitely start to separate on their own. And of course, if you move them around for a while they're cooking, they'll kind of like naturally break apart and separate on their own a little bit. So, like I said, after about 3 minutes or so of cooking, these are what these nachos are looking like. So I just take them out. And if you have one of those strainers, one of those metal strainers, definitely use that. I just cannot find mine at this point in time, so wasn't able to use that. But if you do it like how I'm doing it right here, just make sure you don't make a mess like I did and have oil everywhere. But after you take them out of the grease, put them on a paper towel and make sure you get a lot of that oil out there and sprinkle them with a little bit of salt. So now the nachos are done. So I'm going to start off on my ground beef, or my taco meat. Don't call it taco meat. Anyway, y'all, I have about a pound of ground beef. You can use ground turkey. You can use like shredded chicken, whatever you have on hand. Use that, okay? And so I'm just kind of chopping up the meat a little bit just to get it a little finer. Y'all have seen me do this multiple times on this channel. So after that, I'm going in with a little bit of fresh diced onion, a couple handfuls of that. It's no real measurement. Just do it until it looks right, honestly. So after that, I'm going in with a little bit of fresh minced garlic, about a couple cloves of garlic as well. Again, it's all up to you. Then I'm going to go in with some jalapeno peppers, finely diced. I love jalapeno peppers in any sort of like nacho or any sort of like tortilla Mexican sort of dish. And yeah, I'm just gonna go in with those jalapeno peppers. Then just move everything around in the pan. Now it's time for these seasonings. So I have about a teaspoon each of some oregano, dried oregano, cumin, and I'm just gonna put in a little bit of pepper as well, some chili powder, and after that I'm gonna go in with a little bit of salt, not too much salt at all, and just mix that all up together. If you see some of that liquid has kind of come out of there after I let it cook for about 5 to 6 minutes or so, and that's fine because it just makes the ground beef nice and juicy. So now I'm gonna let it cook for a few minutes again after I mixed everything all up, and this is what we're looking like. So now the taco meat is done. Now onto the black beans. This is like the easiest part of this recipe, honestly, because you're literally just taking them out of the can, pouring them in a little small saucepan just to heat them all up, and yeah, that's pretty much all you need to do. So just to explain it a little bit more in depth as far as the seasonings, I'm going to go in with the bay leaf, and I'm going to go in with a little bit of cumin, about a teaspoon of cumin, a little bit of oregano, again about a teaspoon of that as well, maybe a little bit less. Mix that all up together. I'm going to cover it with the lid. Well, what else am I going to cover it with, right? Cover it up with the lid and bring it to a boil. Let it simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes or so on medium-low heat. And after I do that, this is what it's going to be looking like. So now I'm just going to do a quick little taste test just to see what everything is tasting like. And I did use like the low sodium can of black beans, so I wanted to make sure that the salt was sufficient. And so I'm just going to do a little taste test and decided I wanted to add a little bit of salt in there. So I did that and just let it kind of like cool off for a little bit. So now onto the queso. So to a medium saucepan, I have some Rotel, can of Rotel tomatoes and jalapenos that I'm going to add in there. But I'm starting off with a little bit of butter, garlic, and onions, saute that for a bit, and then add the can of Rotel tomatoes and jalapenos in there, or chilies. And if you want to, you can drain all of that excess liquid out. I find that it just provides way more flavor. And then I'm gonna go with a little bit of diced jalapenos. As you see, I like some cheese in mine. Who doesn't? So I use about 24 ounces of your favorite cheese. I used cheddar cheese, mild cheddar cheese, as well as pepper jack cheese. And I'm just gonna mix that all up in there. And after that, I'm just gonna make sure I put in about a half a cup of heavy cream. Don't really go too crazy with the heavy cream because it'll make it a little bit too liquidy, and it'll take longer for it to kind of cook. But just go with the heavy cream, mix it all up in there to get everything combined. Season it lightly with a little bit of pepper. You don't need to really go too crazy with the seasonings. I wouldn't add salt until the very end. If you taste it, you feel like you need to, do that. But then I just mix it all up together for about 20-ish minutes or so. This is what it's looking like. I did want to mention that I added in some paprika just for some color. I also added in a little bit of freshly diced tomatoes, and I also added in a little bit of flour, maybe about a tablespoon of flour, just to make sure everything got nice and thick how I wanted it to. But if you add certain cheeses like Velveeta or like American cheese, you'll be good to go. But y'all, that's pretty much all I have for y'all today. This is just a quick little loaded nacho bar setup situation, just to get your mind flowing, the juices flowing, for ideas for game day coming up. And hope you like it. Let me know down below in those comments what other kind of recipes you like to see me make, especially for game day. And yeah, I will see y'all in the next video.